Fight fans all over the world, it's Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. What? Daddy P, I'm back. Listen, it's been long overdue. Hey, look, man, I apologize, but hey, I just been doing shorts lately. I haven't been talking a lot, but hey, I'm back, man. I'm the type of guy, man, really, I didn't want to start this channel to be a gossip channel, about the latest boxing gossip. What do you think about what this fighter said about this fighter? And, that's good boxing news. It could be, to promote fights, but I just really, that wasn't my cup of tea. Maybe one day I might get to that. I don't know. But this topic to me was worth coming back to talk about, and it's the saga of Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Look, this is always a hot topic, especially right now in boxing. It's been a hot topic for years. And they finally got a chance to fight July of last year. And, what's ensued since then is very, very interesting. But I'm going to tell you, to me, this whole thing dates back to the fact that Errol Spence Jr. Stated about Terence Crawford. He said, man, look, I'm going to clean up my side of the fence first. Meaning he was going to get all of the belts that were on the PBC side, because he already at that time had the IBF championship, which he won from Kell Brook. And there were two more belts that were held by, on that PBC side, the WBC and the WBA. So, and I understood at that time, some people was making fun of Errol about that. But to me, I understood why he was doing it. It was easy for him to get those fights made, make some money, stay busy, and collect those belts. That would be good for him going into negotiations with Terence Crawford, who was actually, with top rank, knowing that those negotiations were going to be hard to make. Having those belts, he felt, would give him some leverage. Now, but what that did do is Errol Spence was already a big welterweight. 147 pounds, man. Look, that guy's frame, he could have easily went up to 154 most of his 147-pound career. Listen, but Errol Spence Jr. continued to campaign at the weight. He continued to beat fighters in that class. He even fought Mikey Garcia, who was under that weight class. I don't fault him for that. It was a good stay busy fight, make him some money. Mikey Garcia called him out. And I want to make this clear as well, man. This is not a disclaimer, but I'm a huge fan of Terence Crawford. I am a Terence Crawford fan, and I have been for a lot longer than I knew about Errol Spence, like being, who he was. But Errol Spence Jr., yes, I am very fond of Errol Spence Jr. I like what he brings to the sport of boxing. But I just, like I say, I've been a Terence Crawford fan for longer. So I've rooted for Errol Spence in every fight up until the Terence Crawford fight, because, like I said, I've been a bigger Crawford fan, and I've been a fan for longer. So the word fan, I got to say this as well, is short for fanatic. And, a lot of time, man, people get on these platforms and YouTube and call people names. I'm not into that, man. Like calling people aerosexuals and bud buddies and all of that. Look, people call people what they want to, but to me, man, it's not that serious. It's like, this is all for entertainment. Boxing is for entertainment, man. As Americans, we have a lot of different outlets to, I guess you would say, get away from the reality of everyday life, the struggle, you know what I'm saying, your job, whatever. We watch sports to kind of just, relax and get away from that, get our minds off that kind of stuff. where we can kind of decompress. And for the people who are boxing fans, it's really a niche sport. It's not like in the old days. Boxing really, it was like I guess in the forefront, but now it's more of a niche type of sport. It's not as big a community as like football or basketball, even baseball. So I mean, hey, look, when we get in on these little platforms where we can we have an outlet to vent, this fan against that fan. I mean, yeah, it gets a little personal, but it's not that personal for me. And I love the sport of boxing. So, I mean, I like Errol Spence. I'm just a bigger Bud fan. But these, a lot of the fans, or what we call fans, fanatics of Errol Spence or fanatics of Terence Crawford that call each other back and forth names, I ain't into that. Like I said, because I'm fond of both guys. And I'm going to tell you this. I guess that was somewhat of a disclaimer, because when I say stuff, I want people to know that I'm not coming from a place of malice. If I say something concerning Errol Spence or how Bud beat him or whatever, it's not from a place of malice. It's all in good fun as a fan. You know what I'm saying? And but with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, this coming out about the eye surgery and all of that. Look, it is what it is. And I can say, yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but really not, because, I mean, really, if they are going to fight in a rematch, the rematch needs drama, because the fight was so one-sided. A lot of people don't want to see it again. And I heard one fan from a channel, he was saying how, well, Terence Crawford don't want to face Errol Spence when he get all this stuff done and he's 100%. I hate to tell you, man, but Errol Spence will never be 100% again. And neither will many of the boxers that's been boxing for more than 10 years. I mean, Keith Thurman, the reason why Keith Thurman don't fight that much, Keith Thurman has been damaged. Just like most fighters, man. They go into these fights with injuries. And that's just like football. Like how many football players go into go into football games with injuries? Look at Kansas City quarterback. You know what I'm saying? The young man, he's phenomenal. But he's never 100% since his first injury. And then we don't even know if he was 100% before that, because they practice in a contact sport. And I mean, how do you think they practice? With contact, And, it might not be full contact like, in the game, but sometimes they can get hurt in practice. They can get hurt in previous games, but that don't stop them from coming in. If it don't stop them from being able to get up on both feet and run, they are not going to stay out. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with boxing. The only thing with boxing is it's not a team sport. So it's just you, a mano a mano, one man against one man. And Errol Spence Jr., to say the least, look, man, Errol Spence Jr. was in a horrific car accident. More than one, but the one was horrific. That one was horrific. And I'm going to tell you this right here, man. It's amazing what Errol Spence has been able to do. You know what I'm saying? In the sport of boxing. I mean, and that's why I believe he gets a lot of respect from his fan base and, just in boxing all around, because he has overcome so much, you know what I'm saying, and continue to compete at the championship level. And I think that's amazing, but it also was one of the factors that I factored into why he would not beat Terence Crawford. And, sports is this, though. Sports is we go pick a time. I say this all the time. We go pick a date and we go get it on. The best man on that day or night is going to win. And it's going to be that, They pick the date. They pick the time. You know what I'm saying? And Errol Spence have postponed fights before. The biggest, most lucrative fight that he would have had in his career against Manny Pacquiao, he postponed it for an eye surgery, you know. And to me, it was understandable. You had people like Bernard Hopkins coming out and saying, little stuff, but nobody really gave that any like real steam. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone knows the mettle of Errol Spence Jr. He had come off an accident. He came back and fought a top level welterweight. In the time, Danny Garcia was still considered as a top level welterweight. And he came back and fought Danny Garcia and dominated him. He didn't knock him out, but he won convincingly. And, that's one of the things that I give him credit for. Like, Errol Spence, he could have took a soft touch or whatever, and I wouldn't have been mad. A lot of people wouldn't have been mad, him coming back from a car accident, but he fought a guy who everybody knows the left hook of Danny Garcia. And, that you can get caught with it at any time. Errol Spence stood in the paint. He came and, handled business. And I'm going to tell you this, look, I'm not questioning the mettle of Errol Spence at all. But what I will say is this, that as much as fans and people around Errol Spence would question and say things about the movements of Terence Crawford, you still have to go back now and look and say, look, man, how can you criticize this guy for that and not hold him accountable for that? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people gave Terence Crawford flack when negotiations went awry and he went to fight Avanesian. I mean, he stayed busy, something that Errol Spence failed to do. He stayed busy and, made him some money. And then, hey, look, to come back to say, hey, we still can negotiate a fight. That's how business goes. That's how it don't stop just because some negotiations fail. And a lot of people was acting like that was the end of the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford saga. But no, it ain't, man. With Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. I mean, they had some thing where they were talking about fighting. And then, it went awry, whatever. But it didn't mean that they wasn't going to fight. And they didn't even fight when they were in their prime. But these guys still was able to make a fight in their prime. But that was an opportunity. Errol Spence said that this cataract surgery was long overdue. So at that time, that was an opportune time for him to have surgery or whatever he needed to do to get himself ready for the rest of his career, whether he thought he would fight Terence Crawford or not. But what you don't do definitely is go in with a sniper like Terence Crawford with some type of an injury like that. You know what I'm saying? That's on you, bro. That ain't on nobody but you. And it's not an excuse for losing because it's sports. You pick a date. You pick a time. If you stick to it, get in there, the best man win. If not, you could have postponed it just like you postponed Pacquiao. He lost that opportunity, but it was because Pacquiao was long in the tooth, and, somebody else came back and beat him. So to me, though, like I said, it's more than just this particular time. Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, this saga goes back to before Terence Crawford even made it into welterweight. People been talking about this matchup. And then once he became undisputed at 140, he had an opportunity to challenge for that WBO strap. So his first fight at welterweight, he became a champion. So once he became a champion, now he's a champion in the welterweight division. He's a world champion, just like Errol Spence. And instead of saying, hey, look, I'm going to clean up my side of the fence, that should have been a priority fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people of old school would have done. Now, I'm not criticizing Errol Spence. I understood why he did that. But what I'm saying is, this should give a wake-up call to boxers of the day. Y'all think y'all forever young. You ain't gonna forever be young, and you don't know what could happen to you in life or in your boxing career. And, with Errol Spence, man, he told you, I ain't live a fighter's lifestyle. partying, drinking. That's how he got in that car accident. He was drinking, you know what I'm saying, driving his nice sports car, enjoying himself. But hey, look, man, it caught up with him. But if he would have made that fight a priority, then we probably would have seen a better fight against Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. That would have been a better fight because you didn't have the car accident in play. You still was able to make the weight more comfortably. You know what I'm saying? But now you wait till you get all three of the belts. Now when you come in, now he didn't make the excuse that he was weight drained. His fan base mostly did that. And I know it probably was based on the fact that at the end of the fight, he said he would like to have a rematch at 154. But, it's 147. That's the weight. That's the weight that everybody had belts in. And that's how you was going to become undisputed. The fight at 147. But if the fight had taken place at an earlier date and time in his career, it would have been a better fight. You know what I'm saying? So all of these excuses, man, and people call them reasons. Call it what you want to. It's sports, man. You pick a date, you pick a time, may the best man win, and that's it. I mean, you can't say, hey, look, man, our quarterback was hurt and we put in the second string. That's why we ain't win the AFC championship. So, oh well, you won't make it to the Super Bowl. That's for sure. And you can blame it on what you want to blame it on. But sports, it will go on. So, I mean, that's what it is, man. This is sports. That's what happens. It's the sport of boxing. So it's man against man. You know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford would have fought you still because he wanted to be undisputed. And you already had given up, a lot of the leverage that you had in negotiations anyway. So, hey, what's wrong with being 100? I can't say 100%, but being better going into the fight. You know what I'm saying? But it still was time against Errol Spence because of he had gotten a little bit older. So it's a little bit harder for him to cut that weight in a quick time. And that's why you see the altitude sickness. He tried to run the mountain, in the week of the fight. He should have never done that. That's on his team. But I guarantee you, he wasn't doing that for no reason. He probably needed to cut weight. And that's why he was trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it cost him. It probably cost him dearly. But there again, as much as you come up with, oh, this why that. Hey, look, it's sports, bro. You have an opportunity to postpone or not. If you not go postpone, hey, look, fight and live to fight another day. You got a rematch clause. Hey, let's rematch it. Let's run it back. Okay. And that's it. The best man won. Let's run it back. And that's what Errol Spence was screaming at first. You know what I'm saying? But now you got the fan base making excuses. Then he come back. Now he's saying this and that. Look, understand that Terence Crawford, where does he go from here? And it's not a win-win situation for him because now he has a built-in excuse. Errol Spence has a built-in excuse if Terence Crawford ragdolls him again. And then some people saying it'll be a better fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not so sure. This is the thing about that fight that a lot of people is not mentioning. Terence Crawford stayed southpaw for virtually the whole entire fight. So you will never know the wrinkles in the orthodox stance. So now, as much as you can get ready for what Terence Crawford did to you in that first fight as a southpaw, you'll never know what's coming if he switched to orthodox. And he can, So, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I still would like to see the fight simply because Errol Spence and his fan base wants the fight. I don't think Crawford would ever live it down if they don't give him that opportunity or not. I mean, Mayweather went on to have an illustrious career after he fought Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy. They asked for the rematch. They talked about it. It looked like it could have happened at one time. It never happened. And Floyd Mayweather went on to make a lot of money, and also do some legendary things. You know what I'm saying? So, who's not to say that Terence Crawford can move on from this? But like I said, I would myself like to see it, just because, and I don't, and Terence Crawford not scared to face Errol Spence. I mean, and then people say, oh, Errol Spence is not going to be 100%. Terence Crawford ain't going to be 100%. Even if they fight at 147, Terence Crawford is older than Errol Spence, and it's going to be hard for him as well to continue to make that weight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talking about Boots Ennis. I think that Terence Crawford, Boots Ennis is an excellent fight. That would be a good next fight. But what kind of money do you think Terence Crawford would make for that fight? What type of budget would PBC or whoever have for that fight? They say that Boots is moving on to the Zone. I mean, what would Eddie Hearn be able to do to make that fight a lucrative fight for Terence Crawford? Now he's making, he's able to make a lot more money. And people act like they don't understand that about boxing, but it is prize fighting. So being that Crawford has made himself more marketable to make the money, this Errol Spence fight, face it, it has made him marketable. And that's another thing about taking the rematch. Where would Crawford go from, not taking the rematch? And what kind of money would he be able to make? In this rematch, the money will be put up for him to make decent money. It probably won't even do what it did the last time, but it has potential to make both fighters very lucrative money. But a fight against Boots Ennis for Crawford, maybe Eddie Hearn can pull a rabbit out of the hat, but you have to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because just like I was watching the Angry Man podcast, Greg came up with something. I got to shout him out. He's the one that said it, and said it best, before me. So I got to give him a shout out. Hey, look, how can you give Crawford $20 million for that fight when the pay-per-view buys will not support that? You know what I'm saying? Boots Ennis can take, a lot less money, but Crawford, let's face it, he can go other places and make upwards of $20 million. I'm gonna be honest with you, he could fight Keith Thurman and make $20 million easy. You know what I'm saying? But as far as him fighting Boots Ennis, I would like to see that fight, but that's that's a whole nother factor. You know what I'm saying? But hey, y'all let me know what y'all think. This Daddy P with Slap Happy Gorilla. Like, hate, comment, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time it go down. Hey, thank you to all the subscribers. Hey, man, y'all get with your boy, this Daddy P. I'm out of there.